Hey there, today I'm making something a little different. I'm making a side table with a ceramic tabletop. I've designed the legs and had them cut from ply. They slot together and the tray sits on top. So now I'm going to show you how I make the ceramic top. So I'm using 7.5 kilos of clay. And I'm using a 45 centimeter bat so I can move my tray around as it dries. Because I'm centering such a large amount of clay, I've divided it into 3 parts. Each is roughly 2.5 kilos. So I throw down the first piece of clay and center it. 2.5 kilos would be the largest piece of clay I'd center in one piece. Then I take the second piece of clay and throw it down on top of the first piece. And then I center this piece of clay. My clay is quite soft, and so it makes the centering process a little easier. If 2.5 kilos is a little too much clay to handle, you could also divide your clay up into smaller pieces. Now I'm ready to add the third piece. So now I center the clay that I've just thrown down. And then I need to center the clay together as one. I'm speeding this section up a little, not to make it look easier, but just so it's not quite so tedious. And now I'm starting to flatten the clay, and I need to push the clay out. I'm going to push the clay out right to the edge of the bat. It's not quite like flattening the top with a smaller piece of clay. I really have to move the clay out. I find the outer edge of my hand is the strongest part of my hand for this. You could also use the heel of your hand. Take your time. You don't have to move all the clay out in one go. Notice I'm using plenty of water to reduce any friction. This process is very similar to the one I show in my porcelain tray video. Now I'm ready to open out. So I'm just pushing down a little and bringing the clay out towards the rim. This will give me enough clay to make the walls of the tray. So once I've brought the clay out, I can gently squeeze to make the walls. They're only 5 centimeters. Now I can compress and smooth the base. And even out the walls a little more. I shape the rim a little. And now I'm going to use a rib to really compress the base. As I've compressed, a couple of air bubbles have come to the surface, and I just use my pin tool to remove the air. I run over the surface with a sponge until I'm happy with the inside surface of the tray. As part of the design of my side table, I want the tray to have really straight sides. So I'm just using my rib to hold against the side to make sure they're perfectly straight. I'm just using my arrowhead tool now to trim around the base. And now I'm ready to wire through the base. I have a super long wire, especially for this situation. My porcelain tray making video has more ideas on making cutting wires. So now I'm going to let my tray dry slowly. I'll just compress the base once it's dry and tidy up around the bottom edge. I'll also carve some little channels where the legs are going to fit. You can use a narrow trimming tool to do this. I've left enough clay in the base. As the base dries, in preparation for firing and glazing, I've used Illustrator to draw up a template for the legs of the side table. These will be 2 pieces of ply that slot together. I'll send out my design to be CNC cut, but before I send it away, I've modelled it to just check that it has the right dimensions, proportions, and fits together. So now I've got the pieces back and the tabletop is fired, let's put it all together. I really enjoy making ceramic pieces that can be used in a really wide variety of situations. This project has been particularly fun because it brings together a whole different set of skills. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video and it gives you some ideas and inspiration. To support my channel, please subscribe if you haven't already done so. It's much appreciated. Of course, like and comment below. And as always, happy potting, whatever you decide to make.